Hey guys, how are we doing? So we're back on another Swag Kage video. It's a versus fight. Rock Lee versus Neji. No, Neji versus Rock Lee. This is an interesting one. So I feel like if we went with the start of Naruto, I feel like Neji just has totally got that in the bag. But then when we go to Shippuden, I don't know. I don't know. So Lee's got the gates. Outlived Neji. He survived the war. So there's something there. God, I feel bad for sitting. But let's just get into this, because I'm not the educated guy that comes analysing these things. It's a good thing I don't. Can you imagine that? Neji versus Rock Lee. Well, Rock Lee lived through the war, so he obviously would win. There we go. See you guys next time. No, we're going to get into this. This is Swag Kage's Neji versus Rock Lee.
Yo, how's everybody doing today? Swag Kage here, and welcome to today's video, where, as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be talking about Rock Lee versus Neji Hyuga. So I did a poll over on Twitter, and at first, this was actually in last place, but eventually it ended up pulling ahead, and like a couple hours into the poll, it became very clear that no fight was going to overtake this one, and that actually surprised me, because I think the answer is pretty obvious, but clearly people want to talk about it. So here we go. Now, unlike my last solo versus battle video, which was Guy versus Pain, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time breaking down the abilities of both characters for two reasons. The first is that I'm going to have to split the fight into two different rounds. The first being part 1 Lee versus part 1 Neji, and the second obviously being Shippuden Lee versus Shippuden Neji. Here's the thing, right? Like, both of these characters, neither of them really have a whole lot of feats. Lee only really has his fight with Gaara to speak for what he's capable of in part 1, and Neji doesn't have too many fights of his own either. He has his fight against Hinata where he stomps her, and you don't really get to see too much of what he's capable of because he's just fighting against another gentle fist user. Then he has his fight with Naruto, which is actually a fisting each other for scaling him, and I'll talk more about it in a bit. And then he has his fight with Kidomaru, which is, it's not too important, but it does add a bit to the discussion for time skip. Then in Shippuden, neither of them really do anything anyway, so there's not a whole lot for me to evaluate there. Basically, this is just going to be me talking about the abilities that you already know they have. I mean, pretty much everybody knows what Neji has up his sleeve. You know, he's got rotation, he's got 64 palms, and Shippuden he's got like a lot of palm and all that. Lee has the 8 gates, he has the primary lotus, the reverse lotus, all that stuff. He's never shown to have the ability to use a Sakujaku, though maybe he can. I'm not really all that sure. But, you know, for the most part, it's just going to be Lee using a whole bunch of punches and using like his insane, crazy speed to try and catch Neji off guard, and Neji trying to use the gentle fist to shut down Lee's chakra points. So how will this fight go? I'm just going to be upfront with everybody, right? In part 1, Lee tears Neji apart, and it's not really even close, like a little bit. A very common rebuttal I'm going to see people throw my way, like immediately. I'm sure plenty of people are already typing it out, is, but Swag Kage, obviously you don't know what you're talking about. Lee sparred with Neji all the time, and he got his ass kicked, and Lee himself said Neji was way stronger than him, so, look, buddy, here's the thing about that. There are a lot of ways to prove that Lee was stronger than Neji by feats alone, and as everybody knows, feats are more important than statements in a versus battle, but on top of that statement was definitely in reference to base Lee versus base Neji. Like, yeah, obviously Neji is stomping base Lee. Like, ooh, what a big deal, big bad Neji taking out with a fucking fodder character who couldn't even fight fucking like Dosu and Zaku. And I say it was definitely in reference to base Lee, maybe Lee with like the first gate open because he probably attempted to use the primary lotus on Neji. But I know for a fact this statement was not in reference to Lee with the 3rd gate, 4th gate, or 5th gate open, because when Neji saw Lee using the gates in his fight against Gaara, at least the gates that actually transformed his body, turned his skin red and all that juicy stuff, he was shitting himself, right?
I don't think he was. I just think he felt uncomfortable.
Like, there's no way this is the same kid that has been on my team for the past year, right? Like, this just doesn't make any sense. Where did Lee get all this power? He's very surprised by the fact that Lee is capable of...
Yeah, but just because he's surprised by it doesn't mean he can do anything about it.
despite the fact that nobody should even be able to damage this guy. So, once we get that statement out of the way, let's talk about why Lee is objectively faster than and stronger than Neji. Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure that you can't fucking argue that Neji is faster than 3rd Gate Lee, 4th Gate Lee, or 5th Gate Lee. It's just like Kakashi had to lift his headband and start using his Sharingan to observe Lee's movements, and he didn't have to do that in the battle between Neji and Hinata. Now, granted, Neji might have been holding back against Hinata, but Naruto with the Kyuubi cloak was able to keep up with Neji, and this wasn't Naruto with the tailed Kyuubi cloak, or even with his whiskers exaggerated and his eyes colored red. This was the weakest form of a Kyuubi buff Naruto could receive, and he was still able to keep up with Neji's speed. As a matter of fact, he was able to overpower him, but I'll get into that later. So the fact that this Naruto was able to keep up with Neji should definitely show you that Lee is much faster than him. If you want to try and tell me that this Naruto is fucking faster than Lee, like, whatever, man, but that's an insane fucking claim if I've ever heard one. Now, just because Lee's faster than Neji doesn't necessarily mean that he will win the fight, right? Like, you know, if Neji's strong enough to deflect Lee's attacks, like with rotation per se, he can outlast Lee with the 4th or 5th gate open and attack him while he's down or while his body.
But there's how long he can use the gates for as well, though.
Recoil damage, right? And well, no, Neji will not be able to tank any of the hits from Lee. As a matter of fact, I'd go so far as to say that if not for the fact that Gaara had cushioned himself in the Chunin exam preliminaries, he probably wouldn't have been knocked unconscious. I think you can say with confidence that this kid would have fucking died. At the very least, his durability is crazy, and I certainly can't see Neji tanking the fucking full power reverse Lotus, right? But even if you want to make the argument that Lee won't even be able to hit him because Neji can just use rotation, that's not true either, because the same Naruto that I was talking about earlier, who certainly isn't stronger than 5th Gate Lee either, was able to overpower Neji's rotation with a fucking kunai knife. He was able to cancel it out. If like borderline base Naruto can do that and then go on to one-shot Neji, there's no way he'd survive a barrage of attacks from Lee, even with like the 3rd gate open, much less the fucking 5th. Now, I did think of a counter-argument that you can make with regards to this fight, and that is that Naruto, without the extra 9 Tails chakra that he received during the battle against Neji, was able to damage Gaara in his pseudo Jinchuriki form. And, well, yes, Gaara in his semi-tailed beast state was damaged by Naruto.
Yes, he was.
This was by 2,000 fucking clones attacking him at once. Before he summoned all of those shadow clones, Gaara was fucking ragdolling Naruto. He made him look like a total bitch, and there was nothing Naruto could do against him. It was after he summoned those clones that he was finally able to do some damage to Gaara, and even then, he almost died. He got caught in a sand coffin, and if he hadn't summoned Gamabunta, then he would have gotten crushed to death. Plus, it's also pretty easy to argue that Gaara was weakened, as he just tanked a Chidori, and had even been nicked by one when he fought Sasuke in the arena. And now, obviously, Gaara was just fine after this. He was still able to stand up and fight. It wasn't like he was gravely injured from it. But again, you can't argue that maybe he was weakened, and that's why Naruto was even able to damage him in the first place. Now, I think the final nail in the coffin for Neji pre-time skip is the fact that during his battle with Kidomaru, he was, for whatever reason, unable to use rotation in time to deflect the arrow that nearly killed him. And I mean, this thing came really close to ending Neji's life without a shadow of a doubt. In order to save him, the Leaf had to get this crazy medic circle where all of these medical ninja had to keep swapping out every few hours and just pouring like all of their chakra into this combination jutsu just to save this boy's life. Like, this arrow was serious business, so you would think that knowing this, because Neji's a smart guy, I guarantee that he would be able to figure out if this arrow were to pierce him, he'd be done for, especially because in the fight he does see just how fast and strong it is, like, firsthand. It pierces a tree right next to him, and he looks pretty terrified of it. Point is, you'd think Neji would want to stop this thing, and he would know better than to let it hit him, right? So why didn't he use rotation? There are two explanations for this. One, he wasn't fast enough to do it, or two, he thinks he could use rotation to stop it, but it wouldn't be strong enough to deflect the arrow. There's a third possible explanation for it as well, I guess, and that is that Neji didn't have the sense of timing that he needed in order to precisely deflect such a fast-moving and hard-hitting projectile. But in any of these three cases, that means that there's no way he's going to be able to use rotation to stop Lee from kicking him into the air and just beating the shit out of him the same way he did to Gaara. So I think that seals the deal for Neji here. Now, I know what many of you are probably going to say, and that is that Neji intentionally let himself get hit by the arrow because he needed to grab a hold of it so he could transfer his chakra across the court and damage Kidomaru with the gentle fist from a faraway location, because there was absolutely no way he could get close to him when A, he didn't know his location, and B, he was being constantly assaulted with projectiles. Not to mention Kidomaru kept moving from place to place, so there was really no way Neji was going to get a grasp on where he was. I guess I could go even
long distance. Neji's
not
got much
Neji needed to land
advantage
his long-range gentle fist attack, because there are more of them, but that's not necessary. The main point is that Neji needed to hit Kidomaru from far away, and transferring his chakra along the cord attached to the arrow was the only way he could do it. Now the thing is, hypothetically, there's nothing stopping him from using rotation to deflect the arrow, then running towards this arrow, grabbing a hold of it, and then sending his chakra across it. Why would he let himself take a lethal blow if he could still avoid getting hit by the arrow and manage to secure the win against Kidomaru? Maybe you can argue he didn't have enough chakra to perform a rotation, which is a fine argument, I guess, but in the manga version of this fight, Neji really didn't do a whole lot to expend his chakra. I guess he did have a lot of it siphoned from standing in that Earth Dome when the Sasuke retrieval team encountered Jirobo, but then again, Kiba and Shikamaru didn't seem to have this problem. They were fighting as if their chakra reserves were full,
and
let's
all Neji did was
launch a couple 64 palms and use rotation a couple times. So like, why would he already be out of chakra? At the very, very, very least, I'm under the impression that if he didn't have enough chakra to perform rotation, but using it would have been enough to deflect the arrow, he would have said something about it in his head. Something along the lines of, darn it, if only I had enough chakra to use rotation to be able to stop this thing. But he didn't say that. It's just all of the pieces of evidence lead me to believe that Neji wouldn't have been able to stop this arrow. And I know for a fact, with the third gate open and with the fourth gate open, Lee hits a lot harder than one of Kidomaru's arrows.
Right.
And really, nothing else Neji has up his sleeve is relevant here. I don't think there's any way that he'd be able to hit Lee with the 64 palms. Heck, Gaara's auto-reflex sand shield couldn't even he dropped his weight, much less open to the third, fourth, and later fifth gate. It's just really hard to argue that Neji would be able to move anywhere near that fast. And I just think that he'd be completely overwhelmed by Lee's ridiculous speed and strength as soon as he opened even the third gate. So with all this in mind, Part 1 Neji does not stand a fucking chance against Part 1 Lee. That's without even getting into all of his, like, fucking bullshit auto-reflexes with the goddamn...
Oh yeah, the drunken fist. Forgot about that.
This, like, Jonin level fighter. I
forgot about the drunken fist.
No, I know a lot of you guys might be saying I'm being biased here, and no, I have spent days, like actually the past entire week, looking into this fight because of the fact that I really, really, really wanted to know if there was anything Neji would be able to do, and quite frankly, there just isn't.
Fair enough.
He doesn't have any way to react to Lee crossing this, okay, actually, the distance he crossed against Gaara wasn't really, it wasn't, that crazy. It's not like he traveled across an entire, football field or anything. It was probably a couple meters at best, but if he starts, 10 meters away from Neji and then he opens the fifth gate, I mean, there's, nothing Neji's going to be able to do about it. He'll try in rotation, and Lee will... Lee will hit Neji before he can even use rotation, or he'll overpower it the same way Naruto did, and there's really no way you can argue Neji comes out of this unscathed. And even if he
Fair enough, this really, changed my mind, because I went in this thinking Neji would completely own him.
fact, but I wonder if opening the gates reverses the effects of having your chakra point shut down, as it causes all that blood to start...
now you're grasping good straws here. You don't know if it does.
It probably doesn't, but, you could maybe make a case for it. At the very least, I see it being a possibility. Maybe opening the gates might reinvigorate Lee's body.
I imagine he'd be able to just shut down the gate. Because if you're saying there's certain points where the gates are that they focus,
it's not something
couldn't you just, go...
onto in an argument. I just think Lee is far too fast for Neji to handle, far too powerful for Neji to handle, and he doesn't have anything up his sleeve that he'll be able to take Lee out with. Lee's just not the right opponent for him. So now we move on to Shippuden, and for those of you hoping the answer would change here, it doesn't. And,
we know why.
You guys all know how much I love my man Madara. Alright, now...
There we go.
I'm not trying to, wank Madara or anything in a video that really has nothing to do with him, but I just
gotta mention him.
This panel of Lee fucking blitzing him and kicking him in half up on the screen, and Madara had fought some pretty
that's fair enough.
up to this point, if I do say so myself, but he just wasn't even able to react to Lee And again, he got totally bisected by it. Just a single kick cut
Pretty
in
cool.
half. Now,
Pretty cool.
Like, it's worth pointing out, it would be very dishonest of me if I didn't point out that this was when Lee was given one of Naruto's nine-tailed chakra cloaks. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody would agree with me if I were to say that even if you did give him a buff like that, Neji's not doing anything nearly that crazy, but that's no surprise. The point of...
Oh, okay, we'll just assume that.
Does a lot of physical damage. It's called the Gentle Fist for a reason. It's a very subtle fighting style. It deals with internal damage as opposed to external damage. But Neji's ability to shut Lee's chakra points down with the Gentle Fist here doesn't really matter, because if he gets hit by one attack from Lee, he's fucking finished. Lee one-shots him on impact, and that's really the end of the discussion. You want to look me in the eye and tell me that Neji's gonna tank a kick like that? Really? Fucking serious?
Well, maybe if he had a chakra cloak as well.
I guess I probably shouldn't.
If he made it even and equal.
Piece of evidence from the last here, but if you watch the last, there's this part where, granted, it is with a bit of assistance, but Lee punches a fucking meteor apart with the 6th gate. And now, alright, so the last happens 2 years after the end of Shippuden, and that is a comparable gap in time between the end of part 1 and the start of Shippuden. Shippuden happens 2.5 years after part 1, so, you know, there's a pretty big gap in strength there. But, I mean, I don't even know if I really want to use this as a point in Lee's favor. I just wanted to show this fucking clip because of how ridiculous it is that Lee punches Meteor apart. But if you do want to use it to try and make a case for the fact that Lee is strong enough to one-shot Neji, well, the fact that he was able to get to this point in 2 years where he is casually busting meteors with
that's
his
pretty
bare
decent,
fist,
right?
I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that he's capable of taking out a guy who got killed by a piece of projectile wood with attacks amplified by the 6th gate. Attacks so strong that with a little bit of help, he was able to kick fucking Madara Uchiha in half. That's just my 2 cents. Alright, let me make it clear really quickly that I'm just memeing around with that whole, yeah, he got killed by a projectile wood thing. He had to protect Naruto from it, so if it would have killed Naruto, it would have killed, like, any other member of the allied shinobi forces.
I would have killed anybody.
Too bad. But what does make him look pretty questionable as a shinobi is the fact that he and the rest of the Hyuga family were struggling with a bunch of fodder-ass white Zetsu. Meanwhile, you have Lee kicking Madara in half. So this wasn't a very long video. It didn't take a whole lot for me to reach the conclusion. So I didn't really go too much in detail about Neji's abilities, how he has Air Palm, 64 palms can shut down all of Lee's chakra points, but none of it really matters here just because of how goddamn fast Lee is and how goddamn strong he is.
None of it matters.
If you have any questions and you have any counterpoints, of course, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to see some because I'm clueless for ways that Neji might be able to beat Lee here. But if anybody has like any really solid arguments to present, again, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to see them, and if I disagree, I'll respond to them. And if you get me with something that I actually don't have any legitimate response to, I'll be like, well, hey, congratulations, dude. I guess you win. But yeah, that's gonna be all from me today. So until my next video, talk to you next time. Swagkage out. Bye.
Okay, did not see it going like that at the start. I thought it would definitely be... Oh, excuse me. Neji just all over it, but apparently, apparently not. So what do I know? I am but a lowly mortal, who knows nothing on the matter. So, yeah. That was Neji versus Rock Lee. Interesting stuff. I like the verses, but the next 2 are going to be good because I think it's changes to the war arc, like how they should have changed the war arc, and then how Naruto should have ended. They're going to be the next 2 from Swagkage, I do believe, I think. Maybe. Hopefully. Probably. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of these? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below, let me know what you're watching, discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, that's all of you guys, next time.